Episode 2. What is Scribal Alchemy? Scribal Alchemy is a mental alchemy. It is a collection of psychological tactics that came from a practice called epistemology. Epistemology was created by certain critical thinkers and philosophers during the age of Socrates and Plato, which is quite old, and psychology and psychological behavior therapy that is known today also came from epistemology. However, Scribal Alchemy is 600 years older than any psychology. So the idea that the tactics would be more advanced is notable. So Scribal Alchemy having that actual tactical psychological base and foundation is used to cause involuntary behavior within a subjected person. So what that means is that certain people who are learned in knowledge with Scribal Alchemy can use this varying form of strategy and tactics to bend the reality around themselves or around a subjected person. And the term bend reality means changing the original course of what they think that person's circumstance would be. So obviously there are a lot of examples, because as a craft that is very old, it had a very long time to evolve. So Scribal Alchemy evolved into two sections. One section is the written form. So there is literally written forms of Scribal Alchemy where words, letters, and processes of words, letters, and repetitive words, letters, and rhyming words and letters can produce involuntary reaction within a person. So this means whether the person is strong-minded or weak-minded does not matter. What happens is that when you write something that is empowered with Scribal Alchemy, it will in fact have a 100% reaction from the person reading it, but it will depend on the person and the intention of what was written as to how much it will cause a reaction. So this is the first form of Scribal Alchemy, which is the reason why it's called Scribal Alchemy, because it can be used in written form. Because it can be used in written form, it can also use symbology, which can be used in art. Well, basically, in the written form of Scribal Alchemy, as well as symbology, the effects are subconscious. So although a person may have a directive purpose and intention for what they're writing using Scribal Alchemy, initially, and the basic foundation for Scribal Alchemy is that the reaction is very strong because it has a very strong subconscious induction for the person reading it. Okay, so basically what happens is that when a person is reading a letter laced with Scribal Alchemy, what's really happening is they're reading not only the letter, they're also reading a hidden message within the letter, which nudges the person subconsciously and psychologically to involuntarily, that means with or without their permission, induce a psychological reaction. Now, this can be controversial because some of these psychological nudges can be bad and some of these psychological nudges can be good. That said, Scribal Alchemy is a tool. It's neither bad nor good. It's whether the person uses it for good intention or bad intention. Okay, so Scribal Alchemy is not bad and it's not good. It is just a tool, a very powerful and effective tool. The other part of Scribal Alchemy is verbal. So that means that just like in the written form and the symbolic form, the verbal form is also used where certain words and enunciations can be made in conglomeration with each other to produce a subconscious effect psychologically on the subjected person. This is also involuntary, so that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a direct purpose, but what it means is that whether the person knows it, is aware, or whether they don't know they're aware of being subjected, or whether they are strong-minded or weak-minded, doesn't matter. What matters is that the induction of it, that means Scribal Alchemy's induction, is involuntary. That means it will cause an involuntary reaction because it's based on producing involuntary psychological reactions. Okay, obviously this can be controversial, and this is why it's often referred to as a witchcraft, trying to use that term to give it a bad name. But once again, like as I've said before, Scribal Alchemy is not bad or good. It is simply a tool. And for the people using it, which is very few people, it is also used a lot in conjunction with genuinism, which also promotes it as being fundamentally used for good intentions.